Brilliance Audio presents Girl Can't Help It by Max Allan Collins, performed by Dan John Miller. Murder was the last thing on her mind. Really, it hadn't even been on her mind at all. But saying the side trip to Arnold's Park had been a whim would be a lie. Two things had come together to bring her here on this warm Sunday evening of a Labor Day weekend. First had been that write-up in the Dubuque Telegraph-Herald about Hot Rod and the Pistons making it into the Iowa Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and how members of the band would be regrouping after over 3 decades to appear at the induction concert at the newly rebuilt roof garden at the famous amusement park. Second, a wholly unrelated function in Sioux City came up that would put her less than 2 hours away from Arnold's Park, an event that would be over by Sunday afternoon. She wouldn't even have to decide whether she really would go to the concert until the gathering was over, and she could see if the urge had hit her. But she had known it would. After all these years, a chance to see the boys play again. The boys! They were in their 50s too, all but Brian on bass, barely out of his 20s, filling in for his late father. Funny thing was, she saw all of the former Pistons, at least now and then, back in Galena, where she and they lived. All but Rick, who was still out there on the road playing somewhere. She wasn't even sure they recognized her when they passed on the street, with a nod and maybe a smile. She had only moved back to Galena, 10, 12 years ago? And she looked different, not platinum blonde anymore, not so Zoftig either. But she looked good. She knew she looked good, trim from watching her carbs and toned from her regular fitness center visits. Take the event at Sioux City. Several men, younger men, had hit on her in the bar. She didn't take any of them up on it, but she sat there quietly thinking, "You've still got it, honey." So she'd made the trip to Arnold's Park, listening over and over to both Pistons CDs from back in the day. This was a crazy jaunt, since it would put her something like 5 hours from home. And she realized hotel rooms on this last big weekend of the summer would be impossible in the Lake Okoboji area, though she might find some motel to crash in on the way back if she got too punchy to make it home. Still, the concert program online put the Pistons on at 8 o'clock for just a half-hour set. She had no plans to do anything but watch their brief reunion and maybe wave and smile and see if any of the boys waved and smiled back. Without a stop, she might be home by 2 a.m. Back then, 2 in the morning was when things were just getting started. For all her excitement and the wave of nostalgia that hit her with every new track on those 30-some-year-old albums, the CDs were reissues, the boys weren't entirely forgotten. She somehow ironically recalled her only other time at Arnold's Park as anything but her warmest memory of those days. Those days. Back when her friends, who, like her, had just graduated from high school, called her a groupie and worse, following the band from gig to gig. She knew that wasn't fair. She'd been Rick's girl that summer. True, it hadn't gone anywhere, really, after that. She had started college and put those wild days and nights behind her. And, oddly enough, the last of those days and nights had been at Arnold's Park, Labor Day weekend 1984, long before the Hall of Fame induction concerts even existed, long before the Hall of Fame itself. The Pistons were opening for the Romantics. Only a few years later, the ballroom would be torn down, burned down,